I was prompted, of course, by the beginning of the End tour, and people saying, oh, Ozzy, his voice, I mean, look at him and all of that. It wasn't about that. It was about the fans wanting to say goodbye. In a way, it became a fan-led thing. I mean, they paid, yes, and I didn't because I was at a different festival, a more grassroots kind of festival, but it really was a kind of 60-40 fan thing. Usually there's a transference of energy, and it's hopefully a 50-50 until the band 60-40, or if you're really unlucky, a 90-10. But this was led by the fans who really wanted them to succeed and really wanted Ozzy to sound great. And the band around him, Messrs Butler and Ward and Naomi, sounded just fantastic, particularly Geezer, who attacked his bass as if it had done him real harm. Anyway, because of all the shenanigan talk about Ozzy, Mr Osborne, John, to some of his friends, I revisited one of his albums because he's done a fair few, hasn't he? And there was a period where, well, Osmosis was the album, I think, that people had said, well, he's reinventing himself to a certain extent, and he has now become a real, not just a kind of legacy performer, and one of those, great British legacy artists, but actually a vibrant rock and hard rock artist. Lots of people write for him and with him, and that's always been the case. So I went back to the period when he was still thought of as doing wonderful things, and the album I'm going to talk about did get to number 17 on the Billboard chart, so it's a big piece of work. It came out in 1988, but I remember it not being overlooked, because no Ozzy album was ever overlooked, but not really thought of as being superb. It's the first one with Zakk Wylde, who looked very different than he did later on in his career, and it's No Rest for the Wicked. Came out in 1988, re-released in 1995, and Randy Castillo is in here, and Bob Daisley is in here. He wasn't kept on for the tour, I don't think, but they're all writing together, the band, and I thought, because I listened to the Ultimate Sing quite a lot, or as those wags at Kerrang, I think it was, would have it when he was headlining Donington, the Ultimate Din. And this is the album with him on the throne, which ties in nicely the way he's just performed. And I thought, I'm not going to like this, am I? Because I don't like Bark at the Moon very much, really. And the Ultimate Sin I haven't listened to for ages, and I haven't listened to this album. I don't think I've listened to it much since it came out, to be honest. And I was pleasantly surprised. You've got those big drums. This is 1988. That is bound to happen. But Miracle Man. I mean, it's got such a fantastic radio-ready chorus to it. Quite a lot of this has a really lovely balance of sharp and nasty riffing and real thick rock with great ready-made radio melodies. It's beautifully done. So Miracle Man is just it's the lead-off track, isn't it? It really, really pushes that. Look, you can play this on your playlist. Beautifully done, and it stayed with you. Fantastic work. But then they repeat it with the following track, Devil's Daughter, which has, again, a wonderful WKRP, or whatever else you want to call it, radio station vibe. It's beautiful. It's so well done. It doesn't conform to any of the kind of musical stuff around. It's not glam metal. It's not hair metal. There's none of that. It's a hermetically sealed Ozzy Osbourne rock box. And hermetically sealed Ozzy Osbourne rock box. I mean, that conjures up some images I don't really want to think about, because I hope he's going to be with us for quite a long time to come. But he's in his own kind of area. He's never really reached out so much. Sometimes he's had a bit of harder or grungier feel, but certainly this album, he's on its own, and it stands out for that. There's a bit of Alice Cooper type, not just because it's called Crazy Babies, but it does sound a bit glammier. And that was one of the tracks that was released as a single, given a video, all of that. You could make videos and release singles at that time, Follows. Remember, it's very important to have those kind of lead-off tracks. And then we get Bloodbath in Paradise, which is ostensibly about the Manson murders, and it sounds like the free, sharp, and sleek riffing of early, or two albums, the first two Ozzy Osbourne albums, the first in particular. It sounds just like Prison of Oz. Really lovely stuff, this, but not in a slavish way, because he'd done other stuff. You know, Bark at the Moon doesn't sound like that. The Ultimate Sin, I can't remember what it sounds like. I might have another listen to that, who knows? But that's lovely to hear. It takes you right back. And why? He's earned it, so why shouldn't he do that? Even when there's a filler, like Demon Alcohol, and I think I know where this is going, it's okay. Eventually it becomes a bit of a rock banger, and I'm thinking this has become more important to me than I thought it would. So even the tracks that perhaps aren't your primary tracks on the album are enjoyable. And you've even got a mini Kashmir with Hero. It starts with an 80s kind of melodic synth feel, but becomes a bit of a mini epic, and I rather like it for that. The Liar is a big ballad, the big southern rock solo from Mr. Wilde, and it's big and empty in my view. Piano and there are vocals and a lot of air in it, and I'm not really interested in that. But this album, even though it's got those big empty drums, they're not beefy enough. I think Roy Thomas Baker produced this, didn't he? I think he did. And did he? I'll check it. Yeah, Roy Thomas Baker and Keith Olsen. But No Rest for the Wicked is it's a bit of a surprise. It's a cracker, this one. And for those people who said, well, you know, it was sort of becoming a bit of it's the kind of big hair Ozzy years, isn't it? And when he came back with Osmosis and all of that, or you might even say No More Tears, which is, 3 years hence, then that was different. But really, certainly Osmosis is the big resurgence of Ozzy, and that resurgence has continued. And I'll really miss him when he's gone, because even though he can't perform live in that way anymore, on album, there are tricks and studio, not tricks but studio enhancements that will help a voice, but it's the way it's his emotional link to these songs, and it's his phrasing which is so beautifully done. And it was all natural with Ozzy. It is all natural with Ozzy. He's not confecting anything. That is something you simply cannot confect. I'll use the word again. Enhance. It's either there or it's not. And that is why people reach out to Ozzy, I believe. And that is why I have. I've loved all of the various iterations of Black Sabbath, but his solo albums are a bit special, and I didn't expect to like this. So even when people were saying, you know, I remember this at the time, people were saying, oh well, it's okay. Looking back, it's an awful lot better than that. Ta-ta.